morning, everyone. Today, I want to say some things to you that will probably be a little bit shocking, maybe even challenge some of the things that you believe about aging and stiffness in your life. And I'm going to begin by the number one thing that I say that usually most people get upset about is aging is not the reason you're stiff. The reason you're stiff has a lot to do with the things that we believe about aging. And we're going to discuss those in more details as I get into the myths of aging. So let me introduce myself. My name is Butch Phelps. I've been a functional massage therapist for 20 years, and I've been studying the muscles of the human body and the brain muscle connection during that time. I am also an author of an award-winning book, The Stretch and Release, and I have a YouTube channel at the Muscle Repair Shop that has 180 free videos, and I'll talk more about those as we go through today. So let's get started with the myths of aging. So myth number one is that pain is inevitable if we age, as we age. And the truth is, it's really not. Aging has more to do with our lifestyle choices and our dietary choices. So if you've lived a life to where you haven't moved a whole lot and you haven't eaten very well, chances are the inflammation in your body is going to be high and your muscle strength is going to be weak. And so stiffness then will pursue. Myth number two, if I just get stronger, I can fix the problem. And this is partially true because for most people as they age, aging allows the muscles then to actually start to atrophy. So about age 40 on, we actually start to lose muscle mass at about a rate of about 1% per year. And you should be getting stronger every year, no matter your age. The problem is that if you just focus on strength, flexibility then is going to suffer, and then stiffness will come in, causing some pain. So this one's partially true. The third myth is that stretching really doesn't work. And for most people, that is actually true. Static stretching, which is what we've been taught most of our lives, actually is more strength training than actual stretching. And so the thing is that if you're holding muscles for long periods of time and you're pulling as hard as you can, what you're actually doing is resistance training using one part of your body to make the other part stronger. That's a major myth. And over time, you'll wind up not getting any more free or flexibility wise. The fourth one is surgery is the only option. Now, in some cases, that may be true in a few cases, but the reality is that if we can maintain our flexibility and if we can maintain our strength throughout our lives, what will happen is most of the things that people as they get older winds up suffering from, like joint replacements and back surgeries and so forth, and chronic pain actually could be lessened greatly by learning how to take care of the muscles properly. And then the fifth one is muscle memory. Don't my muscles really have memory? And actually, what happens is the muscles themselves do not have memory. They're more of a reactive tissue to whatever's going on in your brain. So everything you think, feel, and do will increase the tension in your muscles. And we're going to expand on that a little bit as well today. But the truth is that the muscles themselves do not have memory. And once I was challenged by a doctor on that statement. And I said to him, so you work with stroke patients? And he said, yeah. And I'm like, all right. So a stroke is usually winds up being damage to the brain. But that damage to the brain causes us to lose use of an arm or a leg. So if the muscles had memory, what does it need the brain for? And he sort of laughed and said, touche. And the truth is that but when the brain is damaged, you mess with that neural pathway and it literally forgets how to move that arm or that leg. So let's dive into the next section. Why does traditional stretching usually fail, and why do so many traditional treatments last short term at best and in some cases don't work at all? Well, there's a couple reasons for that. Traditional stretching is about pulling as hard as you can and holding as long as you can, and that's what we call static stretching. And the same thing is true when it comes into the basic traditional treatments. We're trying to brace things up, we're trying to hold things down. And so as we do that, what happens is that we're missing the key element to the whole talk today. And that key element is that muscle mind connection. And so the brain then controls your muscles 100% of the time. So the tension in the muscle itself actually is contributed by what your thoughts are, what your state of mind is, and the things that you do. And so that then becomes a major problem in trying to get the muscles to release if you just pull on those muscles all the time. Same is true with the treatments. If you just put a brace on or you just put some sort of a wrap on, you're trying to stabilize it to stop the pain. But the reality is that what you're doing is you're causing those muscles to atrophy over time, and then that can become a problem. As I started to learn that in my own life, because I was dealing with low back pain, what I learned from that was that by learning how to stretch correctly, and what I mean by that is that we actually only hold that stretch for about 5 seconds at a time. We'll use like a yoga strap or rope, but nothing that's elastic. An elastic band is not a good thing to do there. And then what we do then is that as we start to stretch the muscle, we're going to breathe out and allow the muscle then to relax. Now, for most of you, when you think of stretching, you're going to pull where you feel that stretch because you've been told and led to believe that the muscle actually lengthens. So think about this. Take a rubber band and put it between your fingers. Now you see the length of that rubber band as you start, but if you twist that rubber band, it will appear that the rubber band is getting shorter between your fingers. That's similar to what happens to a muscle as you start to actually have tension build up in that muscle. As that rubber band gets shorter, just like with the muscle, it puts tension from both ends of where it's attached to the bones, and they're crossing joints at that same time. That's going to cause the joints to become tighter. So what we're doing in stretching with the stretch and release technique is that we're actually relaxing the mind so that we can relax the muscles. Now you're only going to hold for that 5 seconds. And the reason for that is that your muscles have a natural reflex that once you start holding it for 15, 20, 30 seconds at a time, the brain then goes into a fear cycle of you could hurt yourself. And so it then will contract that muscle to stop it. You're going to repeat the stretch 10 times. And by doing that, that actually teaches the brain or lets the brain see that this movement is safe and therefore releases you so that the muscle can go back to work the way it's supposed to. So the thing is with the stretching, it's just short, gentle responses or stretches, and that allows you to let the brain see just how safe that is. So a simple thing that you can do, and where most people mess up, is that when you have pain on the back side of your body, that normally comes from tension on the front side. So what I want to show you a little bit today is how to stretch the front of your neck so that you can take the back pain off of the back side of your neck. So 99% of what we do, we virtually are looking downward. If we're driving, we're eating, we're working on computers, whatever we do, we're typically looking downward, which tightens the muscles on the front side of the neck here. So while you're sitting in your chair or you're standing, take both of your palms and place them underneath your chin, and then just take a moment. Feel the weight of your head resting in the palm of your hand here. It weighs about 10 to 12 pounds, so every inch it leans forward, the more pressure you put on the backside, which equals to about 10 pounds per inch. So by letting the hand rest here just on your chin, now what you're doing is you're releasing the tension in the muscles on the back of the neck. Using your arms, just lift your chin up towards the ceiling as far as you can to where you first feel the initial tension there. Don't try to force it to go any further than it wants to. But just as you first initially feel that tension there, and as you do that, breathe out and allow the muscles on the front of your neck to relax, and then hold it for 5 seconds, release it, let the head come back down to the starting position, and then come back and do that again 10 times. And what you'll find in repetitions number 8, 9, and 10 is that you may see your head start to come back a little bit further. But again, this is not about forcing. This is really about coaxing the muscle and the brain into relaxing and allowing that to let go. So there's a few things that you can do today that get you started right off the bat. Learning how to stretch is an easy thing. I've put 180 videos on my YouTube channel. You can go to @the muscle repair shop and you can see them for free. But you want to do these stretches usually every morning and every evening so you can begin your day and end your day in the best possible way. When you're thinking about pain on your backside, your back, low back, mid back, neck, hips, and so forth, always remember that most of that pain is always coming from the muscles on the front side of your body. Make sure too, on the third step, is that you breathe out slowly and allow the mind to relax, because once the mind relaxes, so will the muscle. And then finally, you just want to let go of your broken brain mindset. It's like everybody says, well, I'm not very flexible because I've never been able to do things. The fact of the matter is, once you relax and let your mind see that there are movements that you can do, you're going to be amazed at how quickly your body will respond. And I've seen this in 80 and 90-year-old people. So if any of this is resonating with you, please go try out the videos. They're free on the YouTube channel. Obviously, you can order my book on Amazon, Stretch and Release. It's a manual about all the things that I've talked about today. And I want to make this very easy for you to start. And if you still have questions, you can certainly contact me at themusclerepairshop.com. We can either have an online chat or we can talk by email or phone. It doesn't really matter. But if you're ready and you want to get started with this talk, you can get started today and start changing your body. That's exactly what I did. So thank you.